All right, folks. Well, here we are back again in Mr. Rodder's neighborhood. And today's going to be something a little bit different, something I haven't done before. Usually I'm just thrashing on Buick engines, but there's something that caught my eye today. I had to go get some new media for my the sandblaster. I'm working on a lot of parts, getting them cleaned up so I could sell them at the Buick Nationals. And something caught my eye while I was there. They had a vibrating bowl that you use for a parts cleaner on clearance. And so I decided to pick it up today. And if you're like me and you're the home garage builder guy or gal, you spend a lot of time at the wire wheel cleaning nuts and bolts. If you have an engine that's from before 1992 and probably 1992 and before, a lot of those were non-torque de-yield bolts. They were reusable. So why pitch them if they're in good shape? So you spend a lot of time wire wheeling them and cleaning them off and get all the rust and gunk off of them. But with this vibrating bowl, it got my attention because you could literally just drop the stuff in there, turn the vibrating bowl on, and go off and do something else. And a couple hours later, you come back and you got nice, clean, shiny bolts that you spent very little time cleaning them up. You just had to buy this vibrating bowl. So I decided to give it a try. I figured for a clearance, 150 bucks, you couldn't go wrong. I spent way more than probably 40 hours last year just wire wheeling stuff. And with all things considered, the price of the vibrating bowl was well worth 150 bucks because I would have had 40 hours doing more and more and more that same thing. And then you already had the electricity running from the wire wheel, and you spend the entire day cleaning stuff and you get one thing done. Well, this allows you to do two things at the same time. So big time savings in man hours. And when you're running stuff all by yourself, that's what you're always looking at, is trying to cut the corners and find some extra time elsewhere so that you can continue with your projects without being distracted by something that's just as mind-numbing as wire wheeling bolts, right? So I got it here. We're going to flip the camera around and we're going to unbox this thing so you can check out what a vibrating bowl is all about and how it actually works. I'm kind of excited and a little bit maybe hopefully this thing can take the place of me standing in front of the wire wheel for hours and hours and hours. So stand by. So like I said, you end up collecting a whole bunch of bolts from all kinds of engine projects, and you spend so much time here at the wire wheel and grinding all the crap off. And this is a lid that's just nothing but head bolts, but I don't even know if it's attached. Yeah, it's attached. Can't do this one-handed. All right. And then this is my finished product, I guess. As you wire wheel them, you throw one bolt in here at a time, and it takes you hours and hours and hours to do. I thought, well, if I can save myself a few hours, is this worth it? So we're going to find out today. So I got this handy dandy vibratory bowl here. And we're going to go ahead and unbox this dude, open her up, and you can see what's inside, what it entails. Because I've never had one of these. I've never known anybody that's got one. I just thought it was a neat, interesting tool. It'll save you a bunch of time. Like I said, as the home builder. Now, I don't try to normally buy made in China stuff, but I figure for 150 bucks, I couldn't really go wrong. Even if it only worked for a few months. So I don't even know where you would buy one of these things at. I've never really seen one for sale at a store. So here's a drain hose. They tell you to put a little bit of liquid in there if you're using polishes with liquid in them. So this is the 18-pound model. It's the big dude. And that's why it was so much. And for like for like 70 bucks, you can get the small version of this. But we'll see how hard it is to lift out of here with one hand. All right. Doesn't seem to be too bad. All right, well, give me a second here and I'll pull it off the styrofoam. All right, so there's just the basic packaging, and then you get the instructions inside. So I'll make sure to read this. But the reason why it was on clearance at Harbor Freight was I was just there to pick up media for my sandblaster, which is another Harbor Freight piece, but they had no media for this, and that's why they were on clearance. And they didn't know when they were going to get the next group of media in, so they were clearancing these vibrating bowls. So I decided, well, dang, I'm dumping all the media out of my sandblaster, which is essentially just normally you just dump it in the trash and away it goes. But I figured, well, heck, the only reason I'm taking it out of the sandblaster is you run so many pieces through there, little pieces of RTV and stuff like that comes off, let's say, an old set of valve covers or an intake manifold, stuff that you couldn't get off or you didn't notice it. And it comes off in the sandblaster and it plugs up your sandblaster. So routinely, I got to change out the media in the sandblaster. So about every 2 years, I guess. So I thought instead of pitching the old media, I'll just pour, I don't know, 10 pounds of it in this thing. Because when you look it up online, it says it's supposed to have 2/3 of its capacity as the media, right? So 2/3 of the capacity of 18 pounds is about 12 pounds. Well, I got two 5-pound bottles of leftover media from my sandblaster, which is equal to about 10 pounds. So I figured, well, that's close enough, and that way I won't overfill it. And we'll just throw this in there, turn it on, and see what happens. I mean, worst thing can happen is it doesn't clean anything, and I spend all this time at the wire wheel again. So hold on, and we'll get her filled up, and then throw some bolts in it. All right, so here's my leftover media, which originally was some glass bead and some aluminum oxide mixed together about 50-50. It's just got a bunch of crap in it anymore, so it makes it a huge pain in the butt to use it in the sandblaster because it gets stuck in the inlet tube, and you got to try to clean it all out. So instead of just wasting a whole bunch of time and doing it, cleaning it out every 10 minutes or so, I just decided to change the material out, and I just threw this leftover material in here. Now this was all the head bolts that were on this lid, so I didn't measure anything. I know that the media weighs about 10 pounds because each one of those bottles was 5 pounds. But so we're going to throw the lid on it here. It does come with this nice rubber seal and stuff. Hopefully it'll keep some of the dust in because I'm sure this stuff is going to be dusty. It normally is. But and I probably could throw a little bit of oil in there if I wanted. Let's see. What do I got for... Well, you know what? I'm going to run it dry and see what happens first. Worst thing can happen is it's dusty. So, and I know this is not the media that was intended to be in here, but I don't think it really matters what you put in this thing because the bowl itself is not spinning. There's no bearings. There's nothing like that. Worst case scenario, it might be dusty. Right? So we'll see what happens. Put a little bit of pressure on that dude. All right, we'll turn it on and see what happens. That's it. It's not even that loud. Surprisingly. Maybe I should take the lid off and check it out. Sorry about that. Maybe I'll turn it off first and then take the lid off. All right, we'll see what happens. It might get... Okay. So you can see all the stuff just spinning around in there with the media all over it, right? So, let's see what she looks like in a few hours. So when you're done with this, I mean, really it's just rinse the bolts off and you're ready to paint. So we'll turn her off, put the lid back on, come back in a couple of hours and see what she looks like. We'll spend about an hour and a half now on the in the vibrating bowl. We're going to see how these head bolts look. So bear with me. I'm going to turn it off, take the lid off, and see what kind of work this thing did while I was inside watching TV and taking a nap. All right, so you saw all them scungy head bolts that were sitting on top of that, here when I first picked them up. So this is what they look like now. Considerably cleaner. All the rust is pretty much gone. Some of them had paint on the top, and there's still some paint left on that one. But the bolt is way cleaner than it was when I first started. Let's see, I imagine if I let it go for another hour and a half or so, it would come out like really nice. I'm kind of impressed, to be honest with you. I think this was probably well worth the time and money. So these bolts look almost new. I mean, this one's a little rounded, maybe because of the socket that I put on there. I don't know. Or it may have not even been for me. But, yeah, these things are coming out pretty good. I'm fairly impressed. I think we'll leave them in there we'll do it for about another hour and a half tomorrow and see how they come out. But for now, I think this looks pretty good. So if you're considering buying one of these things and to clean some bolts and you want to be able to do two things at the same time, it seems like this might work out pretty good for you. I only got this many bolts left to do, so a ton more, so it might end up saving me a few hours. Let's hope, and then I can get back to all the pieces and parts that I've been sandblasting that I gotta clean up and get painted and straightened out and stuff like that, so I can sell them at the Nationals. But that's what I've been doing, just nothing but blasting stuff. So you've been wondering where I'm at. That's what I'm doing. Nothing serious, just cleaning stuff. All right, so until later. Oh, hey, and don't forget, we're having an event called the No Name Nationals, Sikeston, Missouri, September 30th, October 1st. It's at Jeffers Motorsports Park. You can pre-register on nonamenationals.com. You can even buy pre-registered spectator tickets on there. You'll save yourself $5 on the spectator ticket. At the gate, it's going to be $20. Pre-registered is $15 a day. So make sure you head on over to nonamenationals.com and get yourself enrolled.